Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the United Stand. This is your out-and-out, one and only therapy session show. 8 o'clock, Saturday night. Forget all the FA Cup stuff because we're out of it. And we just need to get down to some nitty-gritty. We're with the boys tonight. We're all in this. I seen Levin's face. That was enough for me to look at that show after last night. I thought, oh, at least it seemed the same on TV as it did actually at the ground. But Levin, you had a day off now. Well, a day sort of to recover. It's 24 hours ago, near enough. How are you feeling, mate? You okay? You've had a good Saturday so far?
Yeah. Had a good day, eating some good food. I got the Sevilla game up on my left, so if you do see me like sort of peeking, I am trying to watch out to see how Martial's doing. But no, I'm good, man. I'm good. Like you said, sort of take my mind off of things of yesterday.
That's it. Anything to do with anything, Kev, that doesn't involve football was the name of the day today. And I don't know what you got up to, mate, to try and forget about what happened last night. But was it anything good? Bit of family time? What's been happening, bud?
Just remembering 1999 when United won the treble, put some out on Instagram. I thought it's going out there. And I don't know. People will say that we live in the past and that, but do you know what? I just look back to such a glorious period when we were competitive, players that would run through brick walls. And I just look at the way United are at the minute, and I'm just, I can't find any kind of inspiration at all. But I think all you can do is use a bit of humour sometimes. Last night's fan forum, I'll go as far as to say, is probably the most difficult one that I think we've ever had to do. It was difficult. It was very, very difficult. And I'm just glad that Levin took my advice. I told him last night, I said, listen, mate, in the morning, eat well, go for a walk, clear your mind. And
I didn't go for the walk, but
look,
I should have maybe.
Well, you can do that later on, mate. It's all right. But at least you went well, and you're on better form than you were last night. That's the main thing.
Yeah. It's hit Jay that hard that he's leaving us half an hour in the show today to go and bounce some doors. Just to get the question out.
Yeah,
Jay,
tonight.
I seen you posted
tonight. If you were in Westport and Ireland, and I say you're not getting in, you're definitely not getting in because I'm in bad form.
Hey, mate. At least your beloved rugby went well today, mate.
Yeah, actually, Kevin said about Instagram. The highlight of my day was my son today. They were playing a match. I'm the coach, of course, so they smashed the other team. And to have a bunch of under nines that have better teamwork, better cohesion and communication than paid professionals is just beyond me. So such a difference that these young kids will put together a game plan, follow it through, and do what they're told. But these multimillionaires last night, lads, sorry, but it was an absolute shit show. I'm a massive fan of Ronaldo, massive fan of Bruno Fernandes, but last night they literally couldn't finish their dinner. And I watched your show, Kevin, last night with Levin. I watched it in bed, and my heart went out to you guys last night having to go on the show. I'm so glad last night that I wasn't on, because I don't think I could have held my court last night, because if I'm angry now, picture how I was last night. So, lads, great show last night. Full credit to you, because it wasn't easy.
All right, I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes, see if anyone feels sorry for me with 9,000 Middlesbrough fans stood around there in the pissing down rain in Manchester at 12 o'clock. I got back from Old Trafford at 1 a.m. because them idiots, like Jay said, could not finish their dinner, and it dragged on through all of that crap extra time. And yes, you probably heard it. It was well documented. I made sure that people knew about it today. There was no food or drink on offer for anyone. And we didn't even get a little sympathy sort of token. And it was just like, I was just like, can this club get any lower right now than what I am witnessing, what I am feeling? It was just, I stood there last night and I went, we couldn't even get fan vlogs on, guys, because it was too late. Because this lot could not get out of Old Trafford against a championship team. And you know what? I had people waiting, and Ryan came up to me and said, "We haven't got time. I'm sorry." And I'm just like, I never felt so low. I was, you know what? It was just the whole aura and the feeling around, and then 9,500 Middlesbrough fans walking past you, singing, chanting, pissed up. They were all heading into Manchester for a jolly, absolutely mint. They're on the lash last night. It was absolutely banging night for Middlesbrough. I would say, well done. You deserve it. You didn't. you should have been absolutely swept aside. But like Jay said, we couldn't finish. We couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo last night. My God. But, Levin, talking through the hot topics, I think this might have come from my fan blog here. Jay just mentioned it then. We all love Ronaldo, mate. But when someone has a bad game, you've got to pull it up. You've got to talk about it. He's been having a bad game for me for a few weeks now, mate. I think since Ranić's been in, we've really not seen much of Ronaldo. I don't know if it's the system or things not working in his way, but where do you see the sort of problem? Is it because we're in a system now it's not suiting Ronaldo? We're seeing good points of Ronaldo when Ollie was there, but it's just not there under Ralph, is it, mate?
Yeah, I think what's been really odd is just sort of seeing how limited he's been, right, since Ralph has come in. I remember last season, right, when Cavani did finally start to play quite consistently, one of the big talking points from all the pundits, everybody was just sort of like, Cavani's so great, because even when he doesn't score, he's still so useful to the team in all these different ways, right? And I think the problem we've had with Ronaldo is that if he isn't scoring goals in the team, and if it is just one of them days where he's not going to be able to put the ball in the back of the net, you know, more often than not, he is going to feel like a net negative than a net positive. And you know, that was very clear yesterday as well. And look, I said on the show, on the watch along before the match with Mark, that we need to be optimizing more to help Ronaldo score goals, because ultimately at this stage in his career, if you don't have him in your team to score goals, there's no reason to have him in your team, right? It's not like he's an electric outlet, you know, he's not, you know, the most phenomenal link player or anything. You want him in your team so he can net goals, but that's a two-way relationship. He can't be having games like yesterday where, you know, you have the greatest goal scorer of all time and he can't net past the championship side. That's you see how crazy that even sounds, right? So yeah, the conversations around Ronaldo are perfectly valid. That, you know, it's a shame because I think in regular circumstances with most other like attacking players, you probably do just go, yeah, he can be dropped, whatever. The problem is with Ronaldo, we already know that even when he gets subbed off in games, there's going to be all this sort of contempt and all these problems that arise from it. So I really don't envy, you know, Ralph in this situation.
No, I mean, guys, I'm going to make an attempt to read all of your supers out on this one tonight because I feel like everyone deserves a shout. I can feel everyone's pain. But Nate, in the super chat, cheers, mate. I think living in the past is what's killing this club right now. I think can appreciate it without living in it. By the way, the squad is really unbalanced. I think I definitely agree with that. Jay, you mentioned the man himself there. Ronaldo couldn't finish his dinner last night. Bruno, the same. Are we having a problem with our Portuguese maestros at the moment? Because it's just, I was there last night, mate, and you may not have picked it up on TV, and I don't know if you guys talked about it. Forgive me for getting in at 1 a.m. and missing a few of the shows last night, but I'm watching Ronaldo and Bruno make the same runs, and I can see the frustrations and the conversations between them both actually there on the pitch. You can see what Ronaldo's saying, and you can see what Bruno's saying. The hand gestures are the same. It's like, for me, they're getting in each other's way, Jay. I don't know if that came across on TV last night, but it seems to be too many want to lead the team, but can't agree between themselves how to work it between them. Is that coming across? Did it look that way from a distance last night as well?
Yeah, it looked that way in certain points. The camera would pan to Bruno's face after he made a fruitless run. Ronaldo was in his way. The camera would pan to them. The commentators didn't really say much about it, but obviously in the ground, it's a lot more obvious. But if you look at Portugal, Ronaldo and Bruno, historically, the last 3 seasons, haven't played exceptionally well together in the Portuguese side. And usually Bruno works better in a Portugal side when he's sprung off the bench, because you said they do tend to invade each other's space. I think if you look at the way they are at Portugal, it's almost like a case of this town ain't big enough for the both of us. So Ralph has got a conundrum there. We've used a term with Bruno Fernandes, the talisman, the fire starter, and Bruno Fernandes has become accustomed to being the leader of that team. Obviously, Ronaldo comes in. Now, I'm not saying Bruno got his nose at a joint, but they do definitely occupy the same space. But that being said, I think Ralph now has a bit of a poison chalice on his hands, because he can't really drop Ronaldo. He's not going to drop Bruno Fernandes. So where does he go? I think the only thing he can do is ultimately start providing Ronaldo with quality crossing into the box. And I think last night we saw flashes of it from Jadon Sancho. I don't want to go off point now on this, but Mason Greenwood was at his normal self, running down blind alleys. You could see the frustration from Ronaldo and Bruno as well. They make runs, and either Rashford doesn't see them because he's cutting inside looking for his shot. So I think Olav has still got a lot of work to do with that front three. But right now, the Bruno Ronaldo axis at the front there, it is a bit of a poison chalice. And I don't envy Ralph right now, because that's very, very, very tough to manage that tactically, and also to manage two huge personalities.
Yeah, that's it. I totally agree with that. It is not going to be easy, and I've made a big point about this before. Eric Leonard, Eric from Canada, I've met you on a fan vlog already this season. Big up, Eric, for the super chat, mate. Absolutely buzzing that you did get across from Canada to watch United. He wasn't happy at that time. Not much has changed through the space of the season. And I just feel sorry for all them really long-distance travelling fans who have to deal with what they're watching. Lewis comes in. Guys, the Travis State that is our board is the biggest problem. It's wrecking the confidence of the players. Don't think even Pep would win anything here. This is the problem. Maybe these bigger managers, Kev, have just looked at United in the past and gone, oh, we've seen this coming. You could say that. I know it's all hindsight and ifs and buts, and she said, he said. But like the boys just said there, two massive characters there. I mean, Bruno was our man last season. Bruno was our leader, Kev. And no coincidence since Ronaldo's come in, and he is the superstar. Like Levin said, the man is the leading goal scorer of all time. 800 odd goals. And by the way, happy birthday, Cristiano. Sorry about this, but happy 37th, mate, by the way, if you are watching. I know you're not, but just thought I'd get that in there before someone absolutely annihilated me. But Kev, Ronaldo, he is the boss. He is the man. We know that. He had a shocker last night. I mean, Ronaldo has a shocker. It seems to be Bruno follows suit, mate. Coincidence?
I think Jay's just made an absolute great point about the two of them. They are occupying the same space. They're making the same runs, and they are similar kind of players. And what it will boil down to, I suppose, is you look and you go, well, who's the future of Manchester United? And it's obviously the younger of the two. It's going to be Bruno Fernandes. You should be really building the team around him. But Manchester United have put themselves in this position. Don't get me wrong. Bringing Ronaldo back to Manchester United, I mean, the day that was announced, unbelievable, because I just wanted, and I'm grateful that I've been able to do, it was to bring, you know, my son's 11 years old, to be able to bring him to Old Trafford and see Ronaldo, who I seen as an 18-year-old break into the team against Bolton. It's unbelievable. You know, he worships the ground he walks on, but he's never known him being at Manchester United. But like I say, it's a massive problem bringing him back into the team, because you're not giving him that much money, a week to sit on the bench. He's going to be a starter. And as Levin quite rightly says, everybody's going to say it. We need to play to his strengths. And I still think he's starved of service. Yes, he's missed a penalty yesterday. And when the chips are down, I think it's quite infectious the way that he acts, Ronaldo, and it does run through the team. It is the child that's thrown his toys out the pram, and that's the way Ronaldo comes across. But he's a born winner. He did not come to Manchester United as a retirement home. I think he genuinely come to United to try and put us back on the map. But I'll say one thing about Ronaldo. I honestly think at this stage of his career now, if he'd have known now what he knew before he joined United, I don't think he would have touched us. I think he's totally underestimated the rebuild and what all the problems we've had. And I think he's totally underestimated it. And not even arguably the greatest player of all time can save Manchester United at this moment in time. Our problems are from the foundations all the way up to the top. It is rotten, and I'd be surprised if he sticks it out, if he's here next season. I really do think he'll be looking to get away, which fair enough to him. He's come back, give us another season. But even from United's perspective as well, the commercially or whatever and all that bollocks, I don't know, but maybe there'll be a parting of the ways this summer, and it will blow us open again, because we know that Cavani's going. We couldn't have foreseen what was going to happen with Greenwood, who we would have seen as a long-term number 9 at Manchester United. And it comes back to that thing, Adam. And I said the other day, we're one injury away from bringing Juan Mata back into this team. And that shows the squad depth, and that's exactly what happened last night.
That's it. Well said, mate.
I did want to add, right? I do think there's elements of truth to what you're saying, Kev, in terms of, I'm sure Ronaldo was definitely surprised and probably still is surprised by what he's come back to. But, in relation to the game yesterday, look, although Bruno wasn't, putting chances away, he literally missed an open goal. Beyond that, his game, it's not like he had a terrible game. He created a lot of the bigger chances we had in that game. A lot of the chances we're complaining about us missing were created through Bruno. I think in terms of, the chance creation in the team, I don't think that's something to look into too much yet. I do think this is something we should pay attention to, especially with Ronaldo's form since Rangnick's come in. But I wouldn't hit the panic button on that just because, you look at the overall performance. Although we didn't win the game, we created more than enough chances to win that game, right? I know lots of people will mention, different areas of the pitch where maybe we can improve. And of course, those conversations are valid as we go into tough games. But in relation to yesterday's game, I just don't think you can really look elsewhere other than the fact that, the greatest goal scorer of all time had a game where he just couldn't score a goal. And hopefully that doesn't happen often. But it cost us yesterday.
The thing is, I've seen it on social media anyway. I'll tap in now and again and have a look. Obviously, when you a defeat like that last night when we go out the FA Cup, but I'll say one thing about Ronaldo. Anyone that questions him as a professional, his ability, you take them goals that he scored for Manchester United out of our season. We are at the bottom half of the table. We're certainly not in the top half, and we are not in the Champions League. I know we are clinging on by our fingernails. We've got difficult back-to-back games against Atletico Madrid. You take them goals out, we're not in the Champions League, and we are not in the top half of the table.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'd be booking flights to Kazakhstan and not Madrid right now if it wasn't for Cristiano and Bruno, because let's not forget Bruno's assist in the Champions League. He got 6 assists or something around that, like Lev was alluding to there. I'm not happy with Bruno when he's finishing, but I know that Bruno's standard game and his average game is the one that's creating the chances. And this conversation would not be happening if we put them first half chances away. We're walking away. I said outside the ground to someone who came up, I said we should be celebrating a FA Cup record. United should have been double figures. Simple as that. The chances, post, bar, goal disallowed, penalty missed. How many one-on-ones? And every single shot, every single effort went right down the goalkeeper's throat. It was an horrendous display of finishing last night because I thought defensively in midfield we were okay. I'm just going to bring up a couple of super chats because my next point is coming up now. I'm at what's that now? Broadman says I'm at my wit's end with this club. No chemistry, no communication on the pitch. Was McTominay there? Was his name mentioned at all? And Marcus comes in with another super chat there. He says, lads, McTominay went missing again. He only plays in spurts, not good enough for our midfield. The owners are bleeding the club dry. Jay, straight on to you for this one, mate. Mr. Scott McTominay, I think we're going in on the names, the big names, the obvious, Ronaldo, Bruno. Everyone wants to criticise them. But I think they've overshadowed poorer performances in other players last night. And I'm not saying McTominay was horrendous the whole game, but what the comments are saying there are right. When the going got tough, no one was looking to risk that pass. I think the guy who probably risked it the most was Phil Jones in the end. I've seen Maguire passing sideways. No one wanted to be the one that got called out for playing that stupid ball and getting the moans and groans from the crowd, mate. That's what it was like in the stadium. You could see it. You could feel it. Everyone was like, don't waste this ball, don't waste this ball. But the players could feel that as well. And in that case, that's when you need the big players to step up, take control of the game and play that pass. McTominay again, and they are right in what they are saying, because I noticed it yesterday as well, mate. He disappeared when the pressure was coming. And that is something we cannot have within our midfield. And it's only right that the viewers actually bring up Scott McTominay. How did you feel? Did that look that way from TV last night? Because it definitely did in the ground, mate.
Yeah, Scott does tend to go MIA. There's no question about that. He was slipping back almost at times as a fifth defender, sitting between Varane and Maguire where he wasn't needed. And it just seems to be to me that when we need somebody with a little bit of guile that can play a 20, 30-yard pass. You just can't do it. And I don't always want to be going in on Scott. It seems that every show that I am going on him, he's had like, maybe 2 good performances against mediocre sides. Well, last night, Scott, you're playing Middlesbrough, championship side. They're not fighting promotion. So if you were to be, I know he's not, the perfect CDM. He's a box to box, but last night that was your chance, Scott. Take the game by the scruff of the neck. Show us what you're made of. He didn't do it. I saw more from Phil Jones when he came on as sub than Scott McTominay, because Phil Jones was up for it. And a lot of the fan base would go on and on about Scott McTominay. Oh, it's United DNA, passion, pride, blah 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 blah. That's a load of shit. It really is. End of the day, when push came to shove last night, we had another 30 minutes put away a championship side. And Scott, for me, last night, as he has done on many, many occasions, he went missing in action. Personally, for extra time, I would have taken Scott McTominay off and brought in Matic for half an hour, because Matic will play a forward pass. That's just my analysis of it. And again, I don't want to be seen as Jay's negative. He almost good enough Scott McTominay. I can only go on, guys, what I see with my eyes. And Scott, look, go on all you want about United DNA, but he's a limited player. He's a squad player, no more, no less. But as events transpired, the lack of signing the mythical CDM over the last 3 seasons, Scott's first choice, and he's here to stay at the end of the season. And we're going to be bemoaning Scott McTominay again and again and again.
Tapper in with super chat. Cheers for this, mate. Guys, I want your opinion on this. What about our academy prodigy, Ethan Galbraith? You guys follow him. I've been following his highlights. I think he's better than McFred. Give him a chance. All I would say on that, Tapper, is right now it's not the right time to bring players in who haven't played. The pressure is too high, and we've got out and out full-on internationals who are having a nightmare right now. I don't think it's the right time. And it was good to see the support that Anthony Elanga received last night from the likes of Ronaldo, Mata, all these experienced players after that penalty miss. We'll give credit to that. And there wasn't one fan in that stadium who would have given any criticism to Anthony Elanga last night. His song was singing full pelt at the final whistle as Middlesbrough were celebrating, because they understand what that means to the lad. And it was just a shame that it happened to come down to Elanga, Levin. It was, I think we were all fearing the worst. I mean, I did it. I was there. I was thinking, oh, no, don't be another young lad who gets the pressure put on him here, and then has to be him that misses the spot kick. It was probably going to be Phil Jones next, and we all know what outcome was coming there, Levin. It was penalties for United. We just don't have a good record, mate. And unfortunately, he will learn from this now, and hopefully, like I said, the experienced players galvanising and coming around him last night. He will take it on the chin. He will learn from the likes of Rashford, Jadon Sancho, who have been in bigger scenarios than him. And hopefully they'll come together and help him, because like Tapper said in the chat there, we do need them. We are going to have to rely on a lot of this young talent to come through now.
Yeah, Elanga's now one of our more important rotational players, right? Yeah. When Rashford isn't playing well, Elanga comes on and he is a goal threat. He is someone that is of great use to us. And it's funny because, I remember Ollie would always talk about how, he's the kind of kid who literally will just do anything. You tell him to run over there, he'll do it. And you see that on the pitch when he plays. Like, he really works hard. And like you alluded to, look, it happens, right? Mbappe missed a penalty that sent France out the Euros, right? I'm sure he's not letting that keep him up at night. You move on. Great players will move on. And if Elanga's going to be a great player, he's going to have to just move on and learn from this. So, no problem there. I said last night, I wish he didn't have to take the penalty, because I wish we would have just wrapped it up in the 90, but it got to that stage and it was going to be somebody and it just happened to be him. Obviously, all the racial abuse and stuff that he got is unacceptable, and it's a shame that we have to keep seeing that kind of thing happen. But for the most part, I think Elanga will be fine. I hope he is fine, because he is going to be important for us moving forward.
Oh, 100%, 100%. No, guys, it was one bad game for Ronaldo. Let's calm down. The real problem is our number 6. Pogba and Bruno were really good up until Pogba got tired. They created a lot of chances. Totally agree. I think that's pretty much what we said as well. We're not criticising the quality of a player, because we all know what qualities the likes of Bruno and Ronaldo have got. But when you have a bad game, and a bad game for Ronaldo is missing several chances, you'd expect him to put one away. He didn't, and that's why you have to sort of call it out. And unfortunately, it was on a big game when we've gone out of another trophy. That's why it's hot topic at the moment, and we're hoping he can get his form back. But what we're trying to explain is why his form has dipped off goal-scoring wise and numbers, and it's with everything else that's going on in the club. Is it right that Ronaldo gets the criticism? We're dissecting the right from the wrong in terms of, is it the system? Is it the rest of the team around him? He had one bad night last night in front of goal. I don't think he'll have another night like that for a long time. So I do agree. We're not getting too carried away. He is what he is, and it's his birthday today, so we're not going to go too heavy on him anyway. But one thing I want to do just before Jay goes, I'm going to bring Kev right back on this next, actually, Kev. But there was a player who I called out in my fan vlog quite angrily last night, because there's two sides to this story. I'm believing the manager's side, and I can't go and let Jay go tonight until he's had his say on the Lingard situation and what's happened with this. For me, I said it pretty much last night, but Jay, I'm not going to get too much into it. How did you see this Lingard situation? Where are you at with it as it is now, and what happened yesterday, mate?
To be quite frank, Adam, I am sick and tired of the entire Jesse Lingard soap opera / saga. It's like one of those Latin American bad telenovelas. You know, it's I'm bored of it right now. We dedicated half a show to Jesse Lingard's possible transfer last August, and he should have gone then. So the Lingard still been here. It's a legacy of the former manager. We won't go into it, but the whole thing that, you know, he wasn't let go to Newcastle. That's on the board. Raf wanted him to go. The player wanted to go, and now he's sniping at Ralph in social media. His brother is sniping. Honestly, I'm bored of it. And now he's got 2 days off. And as I tweeted out, you know, was a weekend to piss in Dubai, not enough time off. You need more to get your head right. Give over. It's amateurish. I'm actually sick to my tits of listening to Jesse Lingard right now. If he doesn't play again, I'm good with that.
Yeah. And on that bombshell, we have to let Jay go. But Jay, cheers very much for coming on, mate. I hope you have a good night in work, pal. Hope nothing goes wrong for you and you have a quite easy night out there on the doors, mate.
Okay, guys. Chat soon.
Man, mate. Thanks for coming
on.
Good
night. Good night.
Cheers, mate. Kev, coming to you though next on that one. Jesse Lingard said he would always be available. His commitment can never be questioned. If that's the case, then why didn't you go and tell the manager that, mate? Because it's all right getting instruction off the board, or whoever it is making these big decisions. I'm guessing it's the same people who said he was an important part of the squad because he's played 2 games this season in dead rubbers. They know more than Ralph. We've had that debate, but surely if you're fully committed, you would go to the man that's picking the team, would you not, Kev?
Of course you would. Jay summed it up as well there. I'm honestly sick to death. And on deadline day, we did the transfer deadline day show where we couldn't believe that a move had been blocked. And again, I say Manchester United obviously didn't know that the Mason Greenwood thing was going to crop up. So maybe they did look at that and say, well, we need Lingard in the squad. But for me, the ultimate kind of betrayal and just everything that sums Jesse Lingard up is what we spoke about last night. Me, Levin and Haber were discussing about the fact that who's lying here? Because Jesse Lingard has been apparently given, 4 or 5 days off to clear his head. Clear his head for what? Because he didn't get a move to Newcastle or West Ham, right? This guy is getting paid 150 grand a week from Manchester United. He's still contracted to Manchester United. You know, he could have been an addition to that squad if we needed to call on somebody yesterday. But can we? No, because his head's not clear. But yet he'll come out, or is it him? Is it his PR company that have put it out going, Jesse Lingard didn't need the time off. You know, he's ready to go. He'll always give 100%. He's a professional. I tweeted out the other day, Jesse Lingard using the word that he's like the ultimate professional. I'm sorry, mate, but didn't you tweet out or put on Instagram a picture of yourself in a West Ham shirt or whatever when you were playing for Manchester United and all this flirting with Declan Rice and all that? I'm not having it. Like I say, he's now got another few days off after being away in Dubai for what, a week? They don't know the ball. And this is a massive, massive issue with players like this now. The modern day footballers that are coming through are so detached. Yet he'll have you believe that Manchester United, it's in his DNA, and he wants to play for the club. It's the club that he grew up at and all that. But why weren't you available yesterday? That's what I'd be looking at and saying, sorry, mate, but you're the one giving it the big one, saying that you're professional and I don't know. Who's to blame? Who's lying? As I said to Levin last night, Rangnick's had 2 problems here with Martial and Lingard, and both of them are giving contrasting stories. Who do you believe? For me, why would Rangnick lie? Why would he lie? 2 situations. He's come out to Martial and said that he refused to be part of the team, not in the squad. Again, whether it's his PR company, whatever, comes straight out and never refused to play for Manchester United. And then you've got this Lingard situation. I'm sorry, but I look at it and I think, why would Rangnick lie? The guy's trying to put himself in the shop window for the job at Manchester United in the summer when it comes up. He's got no reason to be lying. No reason. I put it down to the players. It's a mentality, and it's just a massive issue at Manchester United at the minute. There's loads of players that are in the same boat, and it doesn't sit right with me.
That's it. I'm going to come to you next on that, Levin, actually. But first of all, quickly, super chat to Piggy Free. Yeah, just happy it wasn't Martial in the number 9 position last night. He would have been pushed from pillar to post. I'm taking that. You mean that in the criticism. And we do have a man. I'm going to go straight now, live to Levin, who has our update on Martial playing for Seville right now. This is my Slow Sports News update. How's he doing, mate? What minute are we in? Is he doing okay, Lev?
32 minutes in. I've not really been able to watch properly, but I've seen him. He had a couple good runs, to be fair. There was a couple times where he got the ball, he dribbled past some players. So, maybe he's warming into it. But
one thing I will do, just to clarify for everybody, I will give a quick message to Ricky. He will definitely tell me how Martial's playing 100%. Yeah. But Levin, mate, I'm sure you spoke about the Lingard situation last night. I think it just gets worse and worse. At least we did actually see it resolved with Martial, and he did come back on the pitch, even though he knew he must have been going, and still put in a performance that within them few minutes got us the goal that we needed to beat West Ham. Can you see it? I know it's a similar situation, but it seems to be a bit deeper with Lingard. Rangnick said he would have liked him in the squad last night. Can you see him coming back in and playing a role at all from this moment now? Because it's all right saying one thing, but there's a lot of water under the bridge. And you know what this fan base is like at the moment, mate. It is a toxic place right now when things are not going well. And it's going to be a hard life for him walking on that pitch with the fans. He'll be scrutinised for everything, mate.
Yeah, and I think that's why, I said on deadline day, I just wish he would have gone so we aren't running into these problems, because you could see it coming from a mile away. The conversation of who's telling the truth, who's not, it's one of those things where it's going to remain unknown. What is important is that at the moment, we have a player who we know doesn't want to be at the club, but probably does still have, personal attachment to the club. Lingard's a fan of United, whatever, he's grown up at the club. And so for him, he probably just hates the fact that now he has people sort of turning on him, right? Because he cares about what people think, he cares about his image, and I think that's probably where the tweet and the statement came out from. It's not irregular for players to be sent out and given a couple of days on holiday at other clubs, but you don't really see a big fuss made about it. I think more so where he saw the reaction to that and the narrative that started to be created from that. He felt the need to go, no, guys, trust me, no, I am committed, I would play if I'm asked to, do you know what I mean? And it's just a very messy situation. And so all I can hope for now is, he comes back, he sits on the bench quietly. There isn't any more, tweets or posts from his brother. There isn't any more issues. At the end of the season, he walks away. We say goodbye to Lingard and it's done. That's all I can ask for at this stage. I know some people were like, oh, Lingard, but without Lingard, what if somebody gets injured? What if you need to take off somebody? Matter came on and Matter didn't look too bad. So if worse comes to worse and we're in an emergency, we need somebody to come on in that position. Matter showed yesterday that, maybe he won't be too bad of an option at times. But, hopefully never even comes to that anyway. But yeah, it is what it is. We just got to move on from this Lingard thing.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just going to read a couple of super chats out before we move on there. Fred is in danger of getting a repetitive strain injury in his arms for the amount of times he has to raise them to apologise for doing something wrong.
Hey, no. Respect Fred, man. Fred came on the pitch yesterday. And he looked techie. Yeah, Fred came on. Don't know what it was about him, but you know the little Brazilian flair that Brazilian players often have. He had that when he came on for me, and I thought, oh, Fred, bloody hell.
Do you know what? One thing he said, it's like when Fred stepped up for a penalty, I cleared him on the grounds. I went, this isn't missing. Fred and Brazilians, they're not keen on missing penalties, guys. This is going in. I've got no fear. It was when it was getting to that 7, 8, 9 penalty sort of zone. That's when I started to worry, because I knew Fred wasn't going to miss that penalty. I called it straight out. He did hit a shot that I thought was deflected. It was that bad. It wasn't deflected, but that can happen with Fred sometimes. It is what it is. But he came on. He does his Fred
He's only
bits.
just come back from playing for Brazil, hasn't he, as well,
Yeah.
Fred?
Done his Fred bits. He's there. He wanted to play, Kev. He sort of embarrassed Lingard in a way.
Exactly.
You know?
And the other man, the man that I worship as well, he's gone quite down in my estimation without sounding very Kevin Keegan there. Cavani. You know,
exactly.
He's not part of the team there last night. And I love Cavani, but I was on the phone with my mate today and he said the exact same thing. Sometimes you need to sort of speak to clear the air, and I'm like, am I being out of order here? And I'm like, Fred managed to get back. I know he's not technically the best player in the world or whatever, but listen, he was there yesterday. No. And it's a far cry from the likes of Jesse Lingard and that, where he's in the position to come on the pitch and give his everything. Yes, he's not the best player in the world, and we know that he's got his critics. But by God, he went out there yesterday after coming back from Brazil. Yet Cavani, and I understand the age thing and all that, but Manchester United pay his wages. If he wants to go away with Uruguay and all that, you look, what is he, 37 years of age or whatever? We know he's got injury issues and that. I don't know, if he's that committed to Manchester United, could he have been available last night as an option off the bench? And we look at the bench now, Donny's gone, Ahmad's gone, Martial's gone on loan, and all of a sudden the options are limited. And I go back to what I said earlier, man, when you bring in Juan Mata on, and that is no thingy on Juan Mata, I love him and all that, but I mean, come on, man. Honestly,
this is it.
You bring in Juan Mata on. Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, I'm going to get onto that next. Actually, I'm just going to get through the rest of these supers. This is pretty much this super chat nails down how everyone was feeling outside the ground last night. So dejected with how this club is running, how the players are. United for life, but not sure how long I can keep being frustrated and helpless. It is that horrible gut-wrenching feeling every time you walk outside. Old Trafford holds zero fear for any away fan right now. It really does. It's a horrible thing to say, but you just know they go in there with confidence. Middlesbrough fans were messaging me before the game saying, I fancy us. I do fancy us. There's always that chance when you go into Old Trafford now. If Middlesbrough played Liverpool or City, it probably would have been 7 or 8-0 the way they played. I mean, how Wilder got away with that suicidal high line that he played last night. I mean, we just let them off the hook big time. Adam Jackson, what would you change from last night's lineup? Honestly, I thought that was probably our strongest team we've got right now. You could argue Elanga, Cavani getting in up front, but I'd be happy if we picked that every single week. Levin, you'd be happy with that lineup week in, week out?
Yeah, maybe I'd play De Gea over Henderson, but I think that
true.
Yeah, I think that's the lineup we're going to have to build off of. That's going to be the strongest lineup in terms of moving forward. And again, I get the result wasn't what any of us wanted, but I think people are, in football, just because you lose a game doesn't mean that you were the lesser team or you played bad. And I think that's become a problem with like football analysis and punditry as well. Like, it's always really frustrated me, like when you watch like, the typical like broadcast and the pundits, and it's like the team's like battered another team for most of the game, but they lost. So then like they try to change the narrative. So it's like, yeah, they lost, they were bad. No, like they were the better team. It's just they lost for X, Y, Z reasons. And it's the exact same thing with us. I think people are trying too hard now to try to find anything that went wrong in that game. Like the reality is we didn't lose, of course, right? In terms of our backup options now moving forward till the end of the season, cool, there's conversations to be had. Are we a bit light? Is Mata going to be good enough? Is Elanga going to handle pressure? Cool, those are all valid conversations to be having. But in relation to yesterday's match, our substitutions weren't the reason why we lost that game, right? Again, it's really simple why we lost that game. You know, we just didn't finish our chances. Adam, you mentioned the high line. That was a brilliant point. I thought we did a brilliant job of exploiting their high line. We kept getting in behind again and again and again. We were getting in behind, and you're thinking to yourself, what's Chris Wilder doing? Why doesn't he tell them to sit back a bit? Like, we are exploiting this too much. But we just didn't finish the chances when we did. So, you know, we can sit here and look at these small things and try and microanalyze these things that are wrong. But ultimately, we were better than them in that game. Props to Middlesbrough as well. You know, respect to them. I know some Middlesbrough fans were a bit upset. You know, they felt like they were getting disrespected. Props to them for surviving. But yeah, I don't think we should read too much into that game in particular.
No, I mean, to talk about the Middlesbrough fans, actually Wilder himself, listened to him. I don't know if you guys listened to his interview after the game. It was quite comical, actually. He actually said they had a table booked at Russell's for 10:30. He wasn't expecting to still be there at that time of night. He said he came on, he went, I'm starving. I said they had my table booked for 10:30. He was thinking he was out. And like Levin said there, how he got away with that. He actually said, look, we rode our luck. And when a manager comes out and says that, then you know that you've been hard done to. It was in what we did in our performance. He says, look, the FA Cup springs up some of these games every now and then. Today was one of them days, and we were on the wrong side of it, unfortunately. Problem with us and our result last night, Kev, is the shit that's gone on before it, and then that just happening last night at the wrong time kind of made it worse than what Levin said then. It really was, because any other day, Rashford, he's onside, that ball goes in. Ronaldo doesn't miss a penalty. Sancho's chip is a foot lower, goes in. Bruno doesn't miss an open goal. We're 7-1 up or whatever it is. Feet up, bays are open, mate. Everyone's laughing. But combined with the window, what's happened with Greenwood, the carnage with Lingard, and what's happening with Vanyik, then last night, mate, it was just bad timing, wasn't it?
It just all come to a head last night, and you're both spot on with the actual game. If you're going to analyse the game, it's only the fact that we've gone out that we're livid about. But as a performance, we should have been out of sight by half time. 3 or 4-0 would have told the true story of that game at half time. But as you both quite rightly say, if you don't take your chances, you know, we lived on the edge, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. We can argue about the decision. Should it have been handball? Should it have been a penalty? We've done that last night. I think a lot of us agree. There's even people that are not Manchester United fans that look and go, that wasn't a penalty. But listen, we put ourselves in that position. The positives, you would look at it. You look and think, I know it was a championship side, but I can't remember us creating that much under Rangnick, under this era. It's not like we've been absolutely done by Liverpool, Man City, where we were just totally outclassed, totally outplayed. That game wasn't like that yesterday. But I think it was just everything come to a head yesterday. Even the little thing like you say, I could hear the announcement on the telly. There'll be no food, beverages at half time. And I'm like, what is going on at this club? You know, it's a technical issue. 3 times yesterday in that game, we had to stop to swap the football because there wasn't enough air in it. And I'm like, seriously, you never, ever see that in the Premier League. And 3 times, right, that happened in the game yesterday. And I'm on the phone with my mate, and he's like, and them Glazers must be getting them balls from Cheetham Hill Road or whatever, you know. And I'm like, how can we not have enough air in a football? You know, somebody must be assigned to that job to pump the balls up. Is that where the standards have gone now? They've dropped that low that nobody's even checking. Nobody's asked if there's enough air in the
Kev,
ball.
There's got to be a job for the boys there in terms of pumping balls up. Someone's got to be drafted in for that.
Someone's getting that big time.
But quickly, watching Spurs, they look dangerous. Worried for top 4, Job TV. I mean, we can't afford for this form from the FA Cup. Or this result, sorry. I won't say form like we just discussed then. Can't really afford for this to get onto the players now. We need to shake it off and move on. Another game coming quick and fast. Obviously, Burnley Tuesday night. Got to get back on it for that. And what you guys were just saying there before I bring up a couple of the super chats there, it literally was. And I watched my fan vlog back and I'm thinking, I got a little bit of criticism for what we're saying. But when I watched it back, it was pretty much on point of what you guys were just saying now. And I said, I keep wanting to talk about the game, break it down. And when I look at the game, I go, we should have easily won the game. But the overriding feeling is coming from what's happened before the game, and it just rolled into it when it really shouldn't have done. And it's only because we were unlucky in the game that all the other subjects came back into it. And we discussed it before on shows, and we've said, look, if the game and the performances on the pitch and the results are going well, off the pitch antics don't get highlighted as much. It's not as in your face. And that's what I looked back and I was like, I found myself dissecting a bit of the game, and then something came up into my head, and there was a reason off the pitch antics affected that bit on the pitch, and it probably didn't as much, but the anger and the ill feeling around the place at the moment, it's just like we needed a result, we didn't get it, it's added to the unrest, and that's what tonight was. Like you said, Kev, all come to a head, and that was it. Brio there says, of course, we play Lingard, Vanic sub Martial after their misunderstanding. It's going to show who's in charge here, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? It's going to say who is the one running the club, because a lot of people have had opinions recently that it is the board that is running the club. The board, Levin, pretty much decided who stayed and who went in January. Kev touched on it a minute ago. Last night, we're subbing off Varane, World Cup winner, multiple Champions League winner, for Phil Jones. Pogba, World Cup winner, quality player midfield for Fred. I mean, young lad in Elanga coming on for Rashford. We've got no problem in that. But all of a sudden, that bench didn't really give us the options that we possibly needed to get out of jail. I know we shouldn't have had to get out of jail, but we said before, these games happen. Mata coming on. Mata is okay, mate, like you said. But anyone is going to look half decent going into extra time, coming on against the Championship team who were blowing out their asses because they put everything into it, mate. Is this going to be a problem going forward? Or, like we said, is it just because we had an off day? And this scenario probably won't be brought up again, because normally 9 times out of 10 we finish them chances 11, won't we, mate? And we won't be needing all the substitutes and needing to emphasize the problem we've got with squad depth right now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You know, moving forward, when you look at the games and the fixtures you have coming up, is there conversation to be had about whether our depth is good enough? Yeah, sure, but I think it's good enough to get us through. You look at the likes of an Elanga who can come on. He came on and he was a goal threat. Of course, he didn't score a goal, but he was a goal threat, right? And I think he'll continue to be that for us throughout the season. Of course, maybe there's a chance that he actually gets the starting role, and then we have Rashford coming off the bench as well, and he was sort of quite decent at that for a couple of games. In midfield, you know, you have Fred that comes on and, you know, can instantly provide a bit of ball winning, a bit of, you know, that energy or whatnot we're talking about all the time. You have Hannibal as well, who, you know, is a bit more creative, a bit more technically sound and talented in that sense. And so I'm looking forward to seeing him. I was surprised he didn't get a look in. But at the same time, we only needed to make a midfield substitution because Pogba isn't at full match sharpness, so he did run out of legs. Oh, Kev's gone. So in midfield, I think we'll be fine, and defensively, yeah, we'll be all right defensively as well. Look, it seems like every time Phil Jones comes on, he does seem to impress a bit, which is funny. It's weird, you know. We have a game in 2022 with Mata, Ronaldo, and Phil Jones on the pitch, and you know, it's just a normal old game, isn't it? Like that itself is pretty funny, but I think we'll be fine throughout the rest of the season. And at the end of the day, we have to make do with what we got right now. Maybe 1 or 2 of the youngsters from the academy will come in and be bench players as well, maybe like a SCRUTINY or something. But for the most part, I think we'll get by.
Yeah, I mean, Kev, as someone just said there, Donny at least still in the FA Cup. If I'm right in thinking, I think he's cup tied, so I don't think he will be in the FA Cup.
I've got Cavani as well. Cavani as a striker.
Cavani coming back. I mean, Kev, one thing we can say is lack of numbers in squad. We ain't got as many games to play now, mate, so we should be okay, mate, shouldn't we?
Oh my God, is that the positive you're taking from the?
I'm trying.
It's less games. Forget that FA Cup. We're out of it. No, I don't. Listen, I'm gutted that we are out of the FA Cup. I'm not going to lie to you, and I think even you look at Ronaldo last night. He's a player that has won this trophy before. I'm sure he would have liked to have added to his collection again. But listen, it wasn't meant to be last night. You don't take your chances. That's exactly what's happened, and we've been done. So Yeah, I like that positive spin. I like that. It's less games. But we need less games, for Christ's sake, because we've got, how many players have we got now? But if you look at that, the team that started last night, positives. I mean, considering Pogba's not played since, November? I thought first half, he looked like the Paul Pogba that we actually signed in the first place, from Juventus. And yes, it's only natural that his performance level will drop off, which it did in the second half. But again, it's how much you read into that. You can look at it and go, is he putting himself in the shop window? But we're at this point now. I really don't care. It's kind of desperation, if anything. I want Pogba to have a world-class game from now to the end of the season. And we're almost resigned to the fact that he's going to leave on a free, unless Rangnick or Manchester United can somehow convince him to stay at Manchester United. It's, we're at that point now. We just need these players giving performances. And behind closed doors, there's a hell of a lot going on at Manchester United, isn't there? We need performances on the pitch.
It did have that sort of horrible feeling and aura around it. I mean, we all know the big cover that's on the front of Old Trafford on the East Stands, the Heroes banner. That's had to have been taken down for obvious reasons, for a certain Mr. or someone being on it. It just made Old Trafford look a bit even more dated and horrible from the front. It took me actually back to the glory days, Kev, when we actually seen Berbatov walking across the front of there behind them glass screens with Sir Alex Ferguson back on a real deadline day.
That was a deadline day.
That was the one. We're going nostalgia now for the last 10 minutes, everybody. Oh, not really. No, we're getting serious again. But honestly, no. Levin, mate, I gave Paul Pogba man of the match. Honestly, last night I thought there's no one in our team that can do what Paul Pogba does on his day, obviously. There was a moment where any one of our midfielders, including Bruno or anyone else, or even our forwards, to say to the matter, really, that couldn't have done what Paul Pogba did in certain situations last night. There's no one who holds the ball up, brings the ball down, or is strong as Paul Pogba, I would say, in our whole team. That sort of player, you don't go and find easily, mate. And it sort of comes down again to the fact that this board now, the way this season's going, mate, they're going to have to do some massive turnarounds in the summer to try and turn this fan base around again. Because if Pogba does go, which I think he will do, it is going to be a monumental job to try and fill that position, because we already need two people in there now. Pogba leaving as well. My God, is there enough midfielders out there, Levin? Because I thought Pogba last night showed what he can be. And if Ralph, like we've said before, can get a tune out of him, mate, he could actually be the one that gets us Champions League and maybe changes a few of these players' minds who might be wanting out of the door. Like himself, like Ronaldo, if it doesn't get top four, it could play a massive part, mate, for us if he keeps up performances like that.
Look, to start off with what you said, there are definitely enough midfielders out there. It's just about whether, the manager that we bring in will pick the right ones and the right profiles, and whether then the board will then support them and actually get the ones that the manager wants.
If we get top four, Levin, who are your three midfielders you would like? Because I think that's pretty much what we need to buy, because I think Matic might be on his way as well.
3 midfielders that I would buy that are possibly available in Europe right now. I'd look at Tchouaméni, just because I think in terms of his potential, he's obviously, going to be a big talent for years and years to come. I'm really impressed by Benacer, who's at AC Milan. He seems to be able to do sort of everything in midfield, and he's the kind of guy who, he's very good progressively. He's a really good dribbler. He works really hard, so he impresses me. Maybe we could be looking in at a Kessié. Kessie, he's somebody who's obviously impressed. He played well against us last season as well, so I know people should be familiar with him. There's lots of midfielders we can look at. I'm sure people were mentioning the likes of Kamara as well. Declan Rice is someone, obviously the price point is a bit mad there, but Declan Rice is someone who, he's shown what he can do at the biggest stage. There's plenty of midfielders. We could do a whole show just talking about different midfielders that we can get. But again, right, to emphasize, and this is where Man United has gone wrong and where it's going to cost us this season, Adam, you need to get the right profile, right? Whatever the manager wants to play, however the manager wants to play, I should say, you need to make sure you're getting midfielders that suit what they want. Because ultimately, you know, a lot of football is about having the right profile of player. The way Ralph wanted to play yesterday when we had the ball, it sort of looked like our 4-2-3-1 at times. You sort of had our fullback sort of inverting to come into the midfield. You had Pogba and Bruno a bit more advanced. And City used to play a similar way, right? And it worked for City because they have the players who have great ball retention. They keep the ball well. In our attacking line, the only person that really keeps hold of the ball well is Sancho, and he did that last night, right? Whereas the other ones, you sort of, they get it and they look to get rid of it almost as quick as possible. So, you know, it's about having the right type of player. And if we can identify that in summer, there's no reason why we can't start to be a bit more successful. But we know this has been a problem for ages. Van Gaal talked about how this was a problem for him, right? Where he wasn't getting the right profiles, the right type, or even the right person on the list. So I am skeptical about whether things will change. Of course, hopefully with Murta now and whatnot, we can't speak. We will be much better at that. But yeah, we actually need to know who the manager is first, even if anything.
Yes, very good point there. Eric Gascar says, scraping the bottom of the jar for positives for this club coming up empty. Glad to see Levin feeling better. Love the show, guys. Levin obviously was down in the dumps last night. Man, you must have been in the pits, Levin, last night. Everyone is commenting on it, pal.
Yeah, it's weird though, because I didn't really think, like, a lot of people did sort of like, you know, comment on it, but I just thought, I think people just used to see me smile a lot more. Understandably, I do try my best to be a bit more like up tempo, but I think a lot of people were looking more so at my face and my facial expression than they were what I was saying. Because I was saying the exact same things I'm saying now. It's just I looked a bit sadder, innit? Understandably.
One of the comments last night, I wanted to read it out, but I didn't think it was appropriate at the time. They said, they were like, Levin sunk that low that he could walk under a snake's belly with a top hat on. I was like, that's an absolute.
You know what? That is.
And you're a big lad as well, aren't you, Levin?
Yeah, I am. I am a big lad. I'm a big lad. I'm 6'8". I saw someone in the chat yesterday. They were like, like, you know, Levin's gone lower than his voice or something. I was just, people were getting mad creative. Like they were going creative. Hands up. People are creative in the community, innit? So hands up.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. I tell you what, mate, your eyes lit up then when we mentioned doing a football special of transfers and midfielders, mate. That sounds like it right up your street, that, Levin, pal.
I would be in. I'd get ready. I'd have like a whole doc,
You'd have a reel, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
What Kevin? Oh, jeez. What Levin? What Levin just said there, Kev, mate, actually brings us right into it to finish the show, mate. Really, we've got a manager there who has identified a profile that he needs in midfield, and that's the current man. I mean, we're all liking what he's doing now, Kev. It comes down to it. If another manager comes in, is he going to need another season to realise there is a profile missing in this team, or is he going to be another whipping boy who needs to analyse the squad over the summer first of all before he decides, by that time the window is shut and there's no midfielder coming in? Are the board actually scared to appoint Rangnick in a more permanent role as a manager?
Do you know that they will have learned so much and from Rangnick and the era that we're in at the minute of how headstrong he is, because we think of the previous manager under Kevlin, the previous management, you know, and the way that they tried Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, man management, you know, we applauded it at the start. It was almost like, this is brilliant. He's bringing the good times back, the feel-good factor. But we did hear the stories that there was players turning up at Carrington late. There was no disciplinary action. And that's the one good thing when Rangnick come in. I think we spoke about it on the fan forum when he got the job, was the fact that he's coming in and it was almost like, right, you know, this holiday camp is done. He's coming in to rip it up. And if you do, it's Rangnick's way or the highway. And we've seen that. I think he's been fair, but he's certainly been brutal. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would certainly not have sent Martial out on loan, Donny van der Beek. And he's in the position to see this in training. So he's gone in there. He knows the players that he wants. But as you rightly say now, is he a bit too strong for the Glazers? Will they be looking and going, shit, didn't expect this guy to be, you know, so tough and that? Because And listen, Adam, he's going to look, and straight away, Jesus, how many years have we been talking about this on the United stand for? There's a gap in this midfield, and I refer to it as the donut. Sound round the back, round the sides, up front, in the middle, there's something missing. Yeah. Now, I'm looking at the comments there, and I'd see Declan Rice's name mentioned, and everybody's like, he's overpriced. I don't care. If the Glazers are going to pay that, it's our money anyway. It's not even their money. But why would you say he's overpriced? We paid how much for Harry Maguire, for Christ's sake? Did anyone at the time go, oh, I don't want Harry Maguire, for 80 million or whatever? If Declan Rice is available and Manchester United want to stump up the money to get him out of West Ham, go for it. Because everything I've seen, Stuart Pearce, who's a coach at West Ham, has already stated, and he played with Roy Keane at an early age, he thinks Declan Rice is a better footballer at that age now than Roy Keane was. That tells me everything I need to know. And
West Ham needed him today in that last minute. He made that run and made the difference there in lower league. He's not afraid to get stuck in and get dirty at the tough end of the season as well. And that it could be what keeps his price way high and puts us out of the game. But there is a profile there that I know United would definitely do a lot better with, and that is Declan Rice in our team. But guys, that is it for the end of the show. The football therapy has finished. I just want to say, everyone who on the super chat and in the chat, you've been on point as always. Thank you very much for joining us on this Saturday night. Looking ahead, obviously Sunday show tomorrow, back at 8 o'clock with Mark. I'm not sure if Ricky's going to be on. Hopefully we can get him on and he can dissect what Martial's just done for Seville tonight. That should be interesting. I'm joking, guys. Come on. You like the banter. We're trying to cheer things up on a Saturday night. But thanks to Jake for coming on for the first part of the show. Levin, as always, mate, good to see you smiling, pal. I know I'm only messing, mate. He's a top man. Cheers for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. It was nice to talk with everybody and see people's perspectives and chat and whatnot. And looking forward to seeing you guys throughout the week.
That's it. And Kev, holding the fort last night, back on again tonight. Is the red wine out, mate?
Yeah, of course it is, mate. Of course
nice
it is.
One. Everyone, crack open a beer, put your feet up, go and put some Netflix on. Don't have to worry about Sunday now. We've got over it on Saturday. The therapy session's over. Hopefully you can just sleep better tonight now and then have a chilled family day on Sunday. Enjoy yourselves. We will be back. Give a like on the video. Subscribe to the United Stand. Obviously, share on all your socials as well. Get the chat flying. Guys, we're out of here for the weekend. Almost done. Halfway through. Back tomorrow. And then on to Burnley in the week. Big games ahead. But for now, people, cheers.